Rome, the eternal city. All roads lead to it, or so they say, and who can blame them when you had the thrill of the Colosseum, the greatest arena in the world. Gladiators from across the empire lived and died on the sands of the Colosseum as warriors, sex symbols, slaves, and heroes. But don't worry, we don't have to go all the way back to ancient Rome in order to meet the gladiators. Hello, I'm Chloe, part of the exhibition project team here at the Royal Armouries in Leeds. And come with me to take a sneak peek at our latest exhibition, Gladiators, Heroes of the Colosseum. And what better way to start our tour than entering the Colosseum itself? Step back in time and imagine yourself as a gladiator. Perhaps you were taken as a prisoner of war, or maybe you became a gladiator voluntarily. Either way, you've endured months of back-breaking training for this very moment. You enter the sands to the roar of the crowd, but all you hear is your own heartbeat as you steady yourself for battle. Okay, so it's not the real Colosseum. Budget wouldn't allow for that. But it is our immersive experience, giving you an idea of what it may have been like to step out onto the sands as a gladiator in ancient Rome. The games were open to all citizens, but where you sat depended on your status in society. Emperors, senators, important other people in Roman society, they all sat at the front. But if you were a pleb or a woman, then you had to sit at the back. But how far back was that? Well, let's take a look over at the Colosseum itself. Now this is what the Colosseum would have looked like at the height of the Roman Empire. Between about 55,000 and 75,000 people would have been crammed into the arena, all put to their seats by a series of entrances, galleries and staircases. But us commoners, well, we wouldn't have seen the elite attending unless they really wanted us to. Now us, we would have been sat about there, probably squinting. Now the building of the Colosseum, that was started by Emperor Vespasian round about 72 CE, and a large amount of the funds, well, that came from the sacking of Jerusalem in about 70 CE, and it was the largest amphitheater in the Roman world. Before this engineering marvel, gladiator matches in Rome had taken place in wooden arenas or in public spaces such as the Forum. Unfortunately, for old Vespasian here, he would die before the inaugural games, and it was left to his son Titus to continue the project. Now, the inaugural games, well, they were spectacular in their length, but also in their cruelty. 100 days of gladiator fights, animal hunts, and executions. Unfortunately for Titus, his reign would only last 2 years. And it was his brother, Domitian, who would ultimately finish the Colosseum in its entirety. So who were the men, and it was mostly men, who fought and died in the arena? Gladiators, they were divided into different types to make for more interesting matches. Such as the Mamillo over here, he carried a large rectangular shield called a scutum and a short sword called a gladius, which is where we get the term gladiator from, or swordsman. Now his opponent over here is known as a Thrax, from the region of Thrace in modern day Bulgaria. Now he's carrying a short curved sword known as the Seeker and a small squarish shield. Other styles existed as well, such as the Retiarius, or net fighter, And there was the provocateur. But seeing a weapon is one thing. If you want to find out how heavy a gladius is, or a wooden training one at least, come and try it for yourself. But just be careful, yeah? There's no fighting in here. Contrary to popular opinion, gladiators didn't always fight to the death. They were significant investments after all. You couldn't have them dying all the time. As such, gladiators could receive better food and medical care than ordinary citizens on the street. On display we have just a few of the instruments in an ancient doctor's toolkit. These would be some of the implements used to treat everything, from a build-up of earwax to broken bones, concussions and sliced flesh. But what about the worst case scenario, when the medicus did all that they could, but the patient succumbed to their wounds? This gravestone is of a gladiator who fell in the arena. His name was Urbicus and he had a wife and a daughter, but he was killed by a beaten opponent. On the stone, he warns others following him to make sure that they kill their opponent, unless they want to meet the same grisly fate. But of course, this is just a sneak peek of the Roman world of the gladiators. But if you want to get up close and personal to the heroes of the Colosseum, join us here at the Royal Armouries this summer until the 2nd of November and find out if you have got what it took to become a gladiator.